What do people need to stop romanticizing? Giant weddings. Why are you putting yourself into crazy debt and through a bunch of stress for a giant event you probably won't even be able to fully enjoy? Save your money, elope and buy a cool house or go take an awesome vacation. One of the best things about living in rural Asia is that many people don't know when their birthdays are. So no birthday stress. Weddings are huge. 400 plus came to my wedding, but everybody pays cash to subsidize the event, so it doesn't actually cost that much. When you die, it is very uncool for attendees to weep and wail, and again, everyone helps out. Most of the major life events that stress the bejesus out of people in Western countries cause far less emotional and financial burden in a rural Asian locale. Might be a lesson there for us. A wedding is, in legal sense, just combining your debt, wealth and everything between. So what better way to start that than with a huge debt? Mental illnesses. OMG, I am just so OCD. It is another attempt to have a personality now. Yes, this. Fighting a war with your own brain every single day is hell. I concur and #X2OOB, happy cake day. Killing people and drugs. Yeah, I still find it crazy that you can show someone being stabbed violently to death and everyone's just chill with it, but God forbid someone's clothes are too tight or revealing. Eating disorders. It is not beautiful and tragic, it is just a lot of gross shit. Like hoarding bags of chewed up food under your bed. Taking laxatives until you piss water out of your ass and you're so dehydrated you have to go to the hospital. Having dentures, implants at 30 because your teeth rotted out. Walking around in public not realizing you have vomit in your hair, which, by the way, is falling out by the fistful. I remember reading one horrifying story from an nurse who had a patient who was literally vomiting feces because her stool was so impacted due to constipation from her anorexia. Imagine vomiting your own shit. And that's not including risks like heart failure, life-threatening arrhythmias, brain atrophy, gastric rupture. There's nothing pretty about eating disorders. All that. And I'd like to add, I'm sick of all the books, movies being about cute white middle-class teenage girls. Eating disorders are an issue in any income, class, age and gender. All this does is make people too ashamed to ask for therapy. It is shameful enough to be in your mid-30s and unable to feed yourself normally. We don't need to be told it is a silly girl problem. My friend's daughter who suffered from anorexia killed herself. It is impossible to comfort a parent whose child has died for any reason, let alone suicide. Nature. People mindlessly think that because something is natural, it is suddenly super healthy. Not everything from nature is healthy for you. Hemlock is very natural, no chemicals, no GMO. There was this lady in a radio program once who said something like, "We need to learn from nature to live in peace, blah blah blah, like WTF, animals kill each other every day." Nature is far from peaceful. Whilst nature has many things which are arguably underappreciated and wonderful, it equally has an abundance of things which will kill us. Nowhere is this more evident than mushroom foraging, a pastime which can be rewarding but also fatal if you mess up. Nature itself is healthy for you though, but you aren't necessarily supposed to eat everything in it. But a walk in the forest or even a park every day makes wonders to your mental health. Spoiler, everything, including you, is a bunch of chemicals. And chemicals aren't always bad. Having acne, I wish people would realize that many natural cures, like baking soda, essential oils, coconut oil etc., can make it even worse. Been there, done that, and stop promoting them. Medicinal skincare products can be hit or miss, and don't work equally for everyone. But at least they're backed up by actual science. Depression. There's nothing romantic about not showering for 3 days and forgetting what it is like to be able to feel things. People treat depression as if it were a personality trait that makes him cool, quirky somehow. No, it is not a shiny trophy that you can show off around and be proud of. Mental health problems are real and they can ruin lives. See, and so on. The whole concept of bad boys. Why is manipulative and abusive portrayed as hot? If anyone abuses you in any way, it's not hot, it's a serious problem. For some reason, many movie, book plots overly romanticize the concept and it's sick. Same thing goes for Stockholm Syndrome. Like WTF? It also leads to women being shamed or even shunned for leaving a toxic relationship, because you didn't give him a chance to change for the better. That happened to my sister, mother, grandmother, friends, classmates, colleagues. I wish I was lying. I had a friend in HS who back then was with an older guy, who was your typical bad boy, loser type. First of all, he had nothing to do with a 17-year-old. Second thing, he owned a shady car dealership that also worked as Fight Club at night, and was possessive and abusive as hell. She told us that he had threatened her, strangled her, etc. But only did it because he wanted to protect. When prom time came around, everyone of course went out of their way to find the prettiest dress, which my friend also did. But when her BF saw her dress, he told her that he wouldn't allow her to go because it was too revealing and could tempt other boys. This was when 2 other girls in our friend group and I took a serious talk with her about his behavior, but we never got much out of it because she kept telling us how adorable it was that he was jealous. Poor girl was manipulated as shit. Classic case GH Luke and Laura. Plot line was he raped her and she fell in love. Sad. Is it romanticized, or is it that bad boys never give away their hand, so women are always trying to be the one that gets them too? I think it's more about relationship dynamics than a romanticization. People like a chase, and when pursuing an emotionally unavailable man, the chase is never over. Yes, and the masochists that like them have an even bigger problem. Stalking. In movies, if person A likes person B, it becomes okay to stalk them like crazy, showing up uninvited to profess their love. In reality, that's totally creepy and illegal. The issue is that people without experience doing these things in real life see the movies and emulate what they see. Absolutely. I had a stalker before lockdown here, and even me explicitly telling him I was afraid of him did nothing to stop him. Thankfully haven't seen him since COVID shut everything down. There is nothing romantic about being stopped in the street every day and seeing him drive past your house. I always found this especially in things like rom-coms. One person instantly knows they are destined to be together, so they follow them around. It is supposed to be viewed as romantic. If I did half of what they do in real life, I would be hit with a restraining order and reported to the police for stalking. Serial killers. I can't even comprehend that. I understand the curiosity, but the fan mails and brides of serial killers is beyond my level. This makes me really ashamed, but I fell down the Columbine rabbit hole when I was a young, troubled kid. Basically, it is a fandom for the Columbine shooters. I was struggling with my mental health, and the idea of killing the people who were putting me through so much shit gave me catharsis. I even wrote a letter to Kip Kinkle, a man who shot up his high school a year before the Columbine shooting. I really poured my heart out and explained everything I was going through. I didn't expect him to write back, but he did. He told me that he usually didn't write back to minors, but that he thought it was important to tell me that everything was going to get better someday. He explained how he got the treatment he needed for his mental health issues in prison, and even got a good education and a job within the prison, and was living a pretty good life there, despite serving a life sentence. He said that he really cared about me and wanted me to succeed in life, and asked me to reach out and get help. I was floored. No one had ever cared that much about me before. Needless to say, I left that fandom and got help, and I stopped romanticizing the idea of violence. When a literal school shooter tells you that shit isn't cool, you know that shit isn't cool. Slightly off topic, but as a true crime fan who loves to listen to podcasts, I can't stand comedy crime pods like My Favorite Murder. I can understand they try to make listeners at ease with such morbid issues, but it comes off as insensitive. Yep, this for sure. I'm pretty hardcore into true crime, and I enjoy reading, listening to literature to do with true crime, but at no point have I ever thought anything other than these people are pieces of shit. I can't understand people who buy shirts and other merch with serial killers' faces plastered on them. There's victims and family of the victims still walking around in the world. Who wants to be sitting in Starbucks only to look up and see some dumbass kid with Ted Bundy's face on a t-shirt? It is disrespectful to the people that suffered at their hands. Incest, especially in the porn industry. Probably because it is the cheapest fetish porn to produce relative to regular porn. The sex is filmed exactly the same and you can use regular actors. You just need to change the dialogue a bit. Once we had a discussion with our friends and the consensus was it was like because it is taboo. Similarly, in Japanese porn, they have this train molestation because everyone faces that situation, but don't do anything. Porn gives the feeling of achieving the taboo. Also, especially on Reddit and specifically on subreddits dominated by the youth for some reason. Is there a psychological reason this is so popular? Is it the taboo factor? Like and subscribe for more Reddit content. Watch the next video at the top of your screen.